In the last year, Xbox Game Pass went from this to this. And even though you've probably heard about Game Pass fatigue recently, we still think it's the best value in couples gaming. So, here are 5 reasons you and your partner should sign up today. We start off with Young Souls. It's a beat-em-up that stars a pair of crap-talking siblings, Jen and Tristan, on a mission to save their foster dad. Story-driven RPG, so expect long stretches of dialogue between encounters, and not gonna lie, narrating this as a couple was a little weird. But the gameplay was worth a few awkward lines of dialogue. Here's why. For starters, we get true co-op, so each of you gets to customize and advance your own dude or chick. You can upgrade your own stats, but the cool abilities are actually imparted by your choice of weapon. Armor and sneakers also buff your character, and those can be upgraded too. The only real downfall is that you guys share the inventory and the currency, so you'll need to agree on how you're going to spend it. Or just have one really, really OP character. Now, for accessibility, each player got to progress dialogue, enter and exit areas, and access the inventory, which was a nice touch, but you'll need both players if you want to leave those menus. There are also a ton of ways to customize the difficulty, but you can't make the game harder this way, only easier. But I think where Young Souls really shines is the combat. It's tough, but really satisfying. On the recommended difficulty, fights were lively and tactical, doubling down super hard on the parry timing. Frontal attacks would leave you exposed, and with healing items on this really long cooldown, you guys will need to approach combat deliberately. You might even think it's too hard at first, but once you start getting the parry down, it's like magic. We still took 6 or 7 tries just to clear a few rooms in a boss, but that pacing actually hit the sweet spot between easy and grind it till your eyes bleed. Every boss we beat felt like a hard-won victory. Young Souls is the perfect mix between beat 'em up and dungeon crawler, with a really good story to boot. And because of how customizable it is, it's a game really anyone can play. So whether you're a pro couple who wants to spend some time looting, or just a bunch of beginners, this one's for you. Have you ever played a game where you like the fishing more than the actual game? Well, you're gonna love Moonglow Bay. It's a super wholesome, super Canadian open-world fishing RPG that's got the same cozy and relaxing vibes as Spiritfarer and Stardew Valley. You travel around and build up the business by catching, cooking, and selling meals to your nice Canadian neighbors. You'll also do some favors for your friends, clean up the town.
This place is a shithole, man.
Even save some whales.
Yoink.
But it's the fishing and the cooking that nail the couple experience. Not only can P2 do everything P1 can, you can also combine your strength for a fish assist against a tough catch or a tricky boss, which is pretty cool. Moonglow also gives you the ability to prepare meals together. It's kind of like a low-stakes Overcooked. You'll move around each other in your tiny kitchen, washing, chopping, frying, boiling, and baking by completing QuickTime events. You can even swap ingredients with your bae if cooking ain't your thing. As you explore new areas and discover more exotic fish, the recipes get even more complicated. But those pay the big clams, so you're incentivized to try out new dishes and level up your cooking skills. This unlocks all those fancy upgrades for your boat and kitchen. But it's not all fish and chips. To play this incredible gem of a couch couple game, P1's gonna have to wade through the first 45 minutes of tutorial solo just to unlock the co-op. So if you're looking to jump right into it, not gonna happen. Another P2 problem was the conversation access. For some dumb reason, NPCs only give quest dialogue to player 1, and player 2 gets a throwaway line instead. It's surprising because Moonglow Bay is so big on inclusion that gender is a separate customizable trait, and yet they forget to include player 2 on the basics. We're not saying Moonglow Bay is bad. It's just that it's going to take some time to get into the heart of the game, but it's worth it. So if you're a couple just looking to kick back and enjoy some fishing, grab your beers and try this today. Our next game, Archvale, is a demanding bullet hell RPG. It requires fast reflexes and cool nerves, and it's punishing in the way that only a Souls-like can be. It might look all cute and colorful on the outside, but on the inside, it's vicious and full of homing missiles. We weren't entirely prepared for the difficulty curve, which goes from doing massive damage to dodge for your life. But it works so well because the rest of the game is actually a lot more like Zelda. There are set dungeons, platforming puzzles, chests to find, and a map that's overflowing with fruity upgrades. Archvale's crafting system will drive you to the corners of that map, looking for new exotic materials, slaying progressively harder monsters to make some badass sets of armor. Which is great news for co-opers who like a little min-maxing and menu zooming. But in this game, you guys are twinsies, so you share inventory, you share money, and you share the experience you get from exploring. You will each still choose which weapons, armor, and badges to equip, but you'll also have to decide on what you want to upgrade together. The more we played, the more we really liked Archvale, and you will too. But you might feel like something is missing. For us, it wasn't the combat, that was hypnotically good, and it wasn't the story, which is really cool when it shows up. We just kept wishing for more ways to interact with the world, like bombing for hidden rooms or NPC side quests. I don't know, maybe we're just spoiled. Even as it stands though, if you and P2 have got a Gungeon-shaped hole in your Game Pass lineup, this could be your new go-to. Our next title, Unsighted, is pretty much perfect for co-op couch couples. There is a deep well of customization to mine, and the strong storyline will keep you coming back to play for weeks on end. It's kind of a Soulsvania, but another one that also wears Zelda on its sleeve. You'll do a healthy dose of exploration and some puzzle solving, along with a really addicting kind of combat you'd normally only get in like a 3D adventure game. It's a strange place to find such a comprehensive co-op experience, but we think this may end up being your favorite on the list. This game is explicitly stated to be designed for inclusiveness and accessibility, and it mostly delivers with the game's Explorer mode. Picking this difficulty will let you make the game easier by selecting options for invincibility, extra stamina, and easy combat in-game anytime. It also allows you to remove the game's dust timer, which is crucial if you prefer a more relaxed playthrough. You see, everyone you meet has a timer counting down the hours until they become unsighted, a mindless killing machine. Feeding the meteor dust gives them more time, but you're the only dealer in town, so it's up to you who turns first. If you're anything like us, we recommend shutting it off on your first run through so you can get accustomed to the game first. We didn't, but we wished we did, because it would have let us explore the big roomy map at our own speed. Mechanically, the co-op is damn good, but not perfect. For all the inclusiveness, we were a little surprised to see that the co-op is still entirely focused on a P1 type setup. Having a shared inventory and money is a benefit, and stats are replaced by a customizable chip system that each character gets full control over. It's still annoying to have to wait while the other player manages their character, but split menus a la Diablo and Borderlands are still rare, so it's expected. It was the exploration itself that was the issue. Because it's so totally focused on player 1, player 2 is really just along for the ride. If either player moves to the edge of the screen, P2 gets jerked back to P1's location instantly, sometimes even killing P2 in the process. But when you're mindful and you stick together, this game is an awesome one to co-op. There's a lot of meat on them bones, and couples who dig adventure platforming will definitely play this one to the end, maybe a few times over. Last up is Nobody Saves the World, a new title from the co-op legends who made Guacamelee. This game bends the knee to great dungeon crawlers, and every now and then, it also winks to make sure you noticed. We're not actually complaining though, because this game, much like the other ones, is really, really good. And I'm not surprised, because the game is kind of like Zelda, in another dimension, with no pants. But instead of the usual finding and unlocking of cool gear as you progress, Nobody lets you earn different forms that you can quickly swap between as you need them. There are 18 different things you can turn into that each play like a different class. And as you level, you'll be able to mix and match the abilities from those different forms, allowing for game-breaking and hilarious hybrids like this one. The way you approach combat is also pretty different in Nobody. It looks and it plays a lot like Archvale, combat-wise, but it is not a twin stick, so don't be fooled. Instead, you attack in the direction you're facing. That can also be locked by holding a button. Not good or bad, but it does take some time getting used to, especially when you need to attack from the other end. The way co-op works in this game is actually a lot like Trigger Witch, so you'll share that single character sheet, but look different.
Whoa, I'm tan. I'm pretty tan.
It also means both players have to agree on what skills to boost and how to spend the money. Each player still gets to customize their own build and choose what forms they fight with, but a lot of the time we found ourselves rocking the same look. And that's okay, because Nobody wasn't really made with a second player in mind. So even though there's nothing new or co-op-y added, it didn't really need it. Sharing the single player experience was enough because it's a great single player experience. So if you're a dungeon crawling couple who loves weird shit and cheeky lo-fi, this one's for you. And that's it. 5 Game Pass games for you and your co-op companion to play. Thanks so much for watching this video. All the games on the list can be found below, and if you want more game reviews for couples by couples, let us know in the comments. Well, it's also games for non-couples, but that's not the point, you know what we mean.